Maybe it's a different relationship now because politics has become such a dirty word. Politicians are, I mean, I'm sensitive to Roberta, I'm thinking of the parallels with religion, because if you tell people that you're a person of a particular religion, especially if you tell them you're a Christian, they automatically think you're a Republican who doesn't believe in abortion, who doesn't believe in evolution. I mean, they pigeonhole you in the same way that politicians get pigeonholed. And maybe, Susan, you were talking about refugees. That's certainly a political issue, which is perhaps more deeply felt among artists, or at least perceived to be more deeply felt among artists than it is among politicians.
Well, Joseph Campbell said something. Oh, I'm just.
It's definitely you.
Said something about artists being, you know, the prophets of society, of people, where it's like standing back and watching everything happen, and then create something in response to that. But that's the thing. That's the art. That's the book. That's the piece of work to hang on the wall that lives and tells the story of a people. And you know, thinking of that, I always saw. I have a sensitive background. I used to be a social worker prior to making a living as an artist. I always thought it's like people getting ripped out of their home for reasons they really have no control over. I just think of that as that for refugees, for me, were always kind of like the prophet, some kind of prophet for me, because I think you can endure such utter pain and change and turmoil, and still I work with quite a bit of them and who have been resettled in New Haven, and still find a way to smile and still find, you know, beauty in life, and like it's mind-blowing. And so they're terribly inspiring people, and it doesn't matter what country they're coming from. It's the same thing. And I talk to my young sons about what would it be like if Mom and Dad, we all had to leave tomorrow and take whatever we could hold with us and carry with us. And you know, sometimes people come in my studio, they're like, Susan, you're so goofy, you have a big mouth, you're laughing all the time, you're such a happy spirit, but your work is so serious. And I'm like, it's just how, that's life. It is this stacked on this all the time. It is that difficult, in the pain and the beauty, because without one you don't see the other. And I can't get over the fact that I am not going to do pretty ballerina sculptures. I'm not going to do it. It does not stir me up inside. I want to share the stories of those who are forgotten. If I have to do one more statue of a dead old white rich man, I'm going to scream. You know, like, I'd rather do a monument to that shares the story of people who are never really given a voice. So I guess I'm standing in that.
That is the most political, wonderfully political statement. That's incredible.
One aspect of politics these days, I think, is this constant policing of everybody. You know, everybody who says everything gets policed. Calvin Trillin, you know, this week was called on the carpet for, I thought, a rather harmless little poem about Chinese food. But oh no, this is, and you know, I mean, I don't want to live in a world where Calvin Trillin can't write poems about Chinese food. And I'm wondering, as somebody who often makes kind of bold statements, whether you worry about that, whether you relish pushback. I mean, this is part of politics, right? Is the modern notion in particular that the minute you do anything, you will offend somebody somewhere.
With everything, every assignment or everything I work on, there's a fear, even if it's, you know, the most anodyne image that I'm offending someone. But I really try not to let that, you know, get in the way. And I often work with a merciless art director who will tell me to send everything, don't self-edit, and I'll send some very vile drawings to her. And,
so she's changed her mind? No.
I've changed her mind. I mean, she's changed my mind on a couple of things that I never thought that they would publish. And of course, I got in trouble with one particular image I did for the New Yorker of Obama as a fist-bumping terrorist that wrecked my life for about a week.
I mean, there's Matt Groening used to do that thing called Life in Hell,
Right.
And so he had these two characters, Jeff and Akbar, I think they were called, and he never sort of said what they were, and people would ask him, well, what are they? Are they Arabs? Are they gay? Are they little people? What are they? And he would say, whichever possibility offends you the most. And in your work, I sort of wondered, do you give a crap whether anybody...
I like to be perceived as someone who doesn't give a crap, and I do my best to not give a crap, but I give a crap. I'm a fearful person, you know, and I'm working by myself in my studio, and you know, you sort of lose touch with, you know, who's outside and stuff. I had just done a drawing of the Iranian President Ahmadinejad that was mildly offensive to some people, and there was it had come out a few weeks before, and I was in the studio working one afternoon, and a helicopter with the United States, you know, Stars and Stripes on it was landing in an airfield very, very close to my studio. And I thought, you know, the United States is coming to protect me. There's been threats against me. And it was apparently there had been a motorcycle crash, and they were airlifting someone out. So it's not all about me, apparently.
There are people who respond immensely positively. I mean, you must be aware. There are people who respond as positively to what you do as those you fear respond negatively.
Yeah, but I don't care. I'd rather accentuate the negative.
I think it's almost, I don't know anything about investments, but I'll pretend for a moment that I do. And the notion that if you try to invest in a way that your safety and your security is completely guaranteed, the reward of that is going to be the rate of return is going to be fairly low. That the big returns come when you take risks. And I think there is constantly, I don't know whether you feel this too, there's this pushback against risk. I write columns, I write magazine articles, but I have to write like a little humor piece at the beginning of my show almost every day that Kyle and Wolf and some other voice people do. So I have to think of something funny every day. And it's one of the things I'm always aware of is that someone will be offended by it, and they will always tell me, I love most of your work, but this one really bothered me. And there was a joke about like seafood allergies, and this woman contacted me and said that she had seafood allergies, or her son had seafood allergies, and she felt that I should apologize for this joke, to the entire allergy community. And I was, first of all, trying to imagine what the allergy community was like, you know, what their meetings were like, a lot of sneezing and in their eyes. But like, well, no, you liked all the other stuff that bothered somebody else, you know. Now I'm stepping on your toes and so this is really bothering you. And it seems as though there are people all the time trying to get us in one way or another to shut up. But they don't really want us to shut up. They just want us to shut up about this one thing.
This is the essence of this conversation. If Barry wasn't doing the work he was doing, oh my God, if we can't laugh at politics and some of the things that are getting crammed down our throat every single day, we forget about it. Like, or if I can't create a piece a visual piece that someone can stand in front of, I'm not going to even put a title to it, and absorb, you know, it sounds cheesy, but it's very real, absorb something from it that defines and is nurturing for them as a human being. If we don't have those outside things that we can flip and interpret the complicated life that we live in every day, whoa, boring, or how, what a box. What a tight box.
It seems like it's addressing something that's not partisan, and I think with the stuff that I do, and I find it's, and editorial art in general, everything has become real tribalized and partisan, and people just want their own opinions affirmed, and you really, you can't really go very far afield. You're just affirming stuff.
As someone who, as a politician, how do you respond to this?
Well, first, as Barry was sitting here doing cartoons, I've actually sat and done cartoons of myself with a big target on my back. You know, it is.
You poor victim.
I know. That's how it's feeling. But taking the risks. I have to say, in politics, is it's very rewarding, taking that risk and being on, and I'm going to say on the right side, or the left side in my case, of things, is a very rewarding endeavor. That's sort of sweeter when you go up like that. But I love getting pushed.
Do you get a lot of like negative response? Do you get a lot of visceral? I don't know.
Well,
how does it come to you? I mean, do you get emailed stuff? Do you get phone calls?
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
confrontations. You know.
Do you get into screaming matches with people and stuff?
As I get older, I do it more.
Wow.
Because I don't care anymore. So where I used to try to sort of smooth things around, you know, well, you have a valid point there. And now it's like, no, you don't have a valid point. And so I like that sort of tension in my work. And that's fun to do that. And it feels good that you've actually accomplished something at the end of the day.
You have to conciliate, at least early on. You feel like you have to conciliate. But artists should run from that, probably. And, I mean, you and I, Susan, we were talking about the need to find, I mean, that's what you teach students, is to find themselves to the exclusion of what is compromised.
Especially when, you know, you get young, really hopeful students, they get out of college and they want to dive into being an artist right away, and oh, it is so hard. And there's no checkpoints of, you know, this A, you need to go do this, B, fulfill this, C, there's absolutely none of that. And you better be willing. And when I tell students this, like, you got to work your butt off. You got to work so hard. And guess what? I'll never forget when I sold my first sculpture, and I had that little paycheck, and I went with my sister, who's a flamenco dancer, director of a dance company. So, like, okay, great. My parents had 6 kids. One's a sculptor, the other's a flamenco dancer. Woo! Boy, why couldn't we have a mechanic and a doctor? But anyway, so we're at the grocery store, and I will never forget picking up a case of seltzer water and putting it in the cart. And I'm like, man, this is the life. I felt so awesome. I felt so like, yeah, my art paid for that seltzer water. You know, but you take these like these little risky chances, these leaps of what your gut is telling you the right thing to do, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, and if you're really lucky enough, and I do think that hard work and luck are in play here, you're gonna be okay. But a lot of younger people don't want to go there. It's too uncomfortable. It's not study enough. It's not straight enough. It's not a paycheck every week.
Was that felt personal to you about what you had created?
25 years of exhibiting, and some will say, well, how was that show, Susan? And I'm like, well, what they're asking me is, did you sell out, or, you know, how much did you sell? And a lot of times it's a big old fat goose egg, like, I didn't sell anything. Was that how you determined whether that was a successful show? Absolutely not. And so doing this long enough, you have to come up with your own definition and hold it tight with your nails. And I'm being dramatic because you have to hold on to it or it's going to slip away. You have to figure out what it is that's going to make you wake up every day and do what you do. And there are a few examples in my career that have been like jaw-dropping, tear, you know, that makes the world stop. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like it's a confirmation or whatever the word is that's like, all right, just keep on, just keep doing it.